Hey all. Um, so it's actually the first video I've made in a couple days now. I know, I think I should have something scheduled, I think yesterday. So this will still be in sequence. But some stuff has been going on in real life, interesting, fun things. But I've been a little bit busy. And really, the other thing is this project has taken a turn for me where I'm a little unsure of how to proceed. So, when I have been looking at originally, the original goal for this project was to get everything running in Google Cloud, and you running Kubernetes and really just kind of everything kind of more like a professional deployment. But when I started to look into some of the pricing for this, I realized that it was just going to be so much higher than I was really comfortable wanting to spend on this project. Um, you know, in the order of 75 to $100, something like that per month. Which for a project like this, and that I want to be able to kind of make these types of projects a lot more frequent, um, this is way too much money. So part of this project was to learn Kubernetes, but it definitely is not the only thing that I want to learn here. It's been so long that I've even gotten anything deployed that I want to get a lot more familiar with that process. And then if I want to learn Kubernetes, I can do some stuff locally. We can do some stuff locally together, and maybe we can deploy one day to a production. Um, and so I don't want to use that method. And I did look up, maybe there were some other ways that we could do it cheaper, but it's just not the tool. It's not the correct tool to use for a small project like this right now. And so, I was racking my mind. I'm like, what do I do with this project? And what I did not want to do was have a little stumbling block here and end up pausing the project and not really moving forward at all, because the point is really to build this, continue to learn, and there's so many things even in this project already that are things that I think I can make a deeper dive in, and just on like refactoring on things that we haven't done the right way. Well, why is it not done the right way? And there's so many things that we can actually learn. And the last thing I want to do is just put a pause on this because, my idea for deployment isn't quite as elegant as I would have really wanted. So I have this new idea now, and I've already got these steps broken out, and that is we're gonna ditch Google Cloud altogether. We're gonna ditch it. It's fine. Sorry, Google Cloud. We're not gonna use you, and we are gonna just really go back to an old school, um, running everything on one virtual machine. So very different. I was hoping to kind of break these out into different machines, but we're not going to worry about it. There's actually still a lot to be learned, even on the CI/CD pipeline. We haven't even built a continuous delivery pipeline where we can push changes, and that was a big part of this project. So we are that idea of that CD process is still completely relevant. Even if you're not using Kubernetes, it's still relevant no matter what the infrastructure is going to look like, your production looks like. So that's what I've actually done here. We are going to run everything in a virtual machine. It's not going to be using containers at all. We're still going to be developing locally in containers, specifically because first off, I think our tests and everything, it just runs great with containers. It's really easy. It's kind of universal now. Honestly, too, I love the fact that we can just delete our entire project and then, grab everything, Docker Compose up, and we're back. Which it's really nice. it's really nice having all that. But for production, yeah, we're just going to run everything in one VM. And so it's going to be pretty simple. We are going to have Nginx running. We are going to route from our domain to hit Nginx. Anything that has uh, an API request, we are going to throw it to our API itself. We're going to strip off that API because we didn't have all of our API commands don't our URLs don't have a prefix. So we're going to strip that, route it there, and I think this kind of acts like a proxy or something. We'll kind of think about how this works as we go, and then every other request we're going to send to our React front end, and we'll end up using like something like React Router to if we want to have different URLs. But and then we'll have to get a separate Postgres server running in this one virtual machine. So that's all going to be there. And what I also wanted to do, because this project is starting to slow down and it starts to get this big blob, and you're just, how am I going to do this? I broke it down in these steps, and that way we can make realistic steps. And even if this is 16 videos, maybe they'll be really short, we're still going to make regular progress towards our goal. So we'll just walk really quick. We've got, first, it's even as simple as we're going to buy a Linode and then we're going to SSH into it. We're going to install Nginx. We're going to get our code manually. We're going to build our React project. And these are all going to be just SSH'd into the server, building them, everything is going to be just done like that. We are going to serve, we're going to point, when you try to go to this server, we want all those requests to actually get thrown to our front end project. We're going to install Postgres. We're going to build our API. We're going to migrate Postgres. And then we're going to serve our API if you have a prefix, API prefix. And then we'll add our server to Google Auth so we can log in. And at that point, we'll hit the server itself. We'll just use the IP address and see if we can just get things working on a server from our browser itself. Once we get that working, we'll buy a domain. We'll get the domain working then. We'll get the domain with Google Auth, and then we'll get SSL and TLS and HTTPS, all that stuff working, and we'll have a real website. I didn't even say this, but this is also a big one before the domain. We are going to get our whole continuous delivery pipeline. So when we make changes, it's going to somehow push those changes into our server, restart services, whatever that's going to entail. And then we'll buy our domain. And at the end of this project, we will be able to develop locally. We'll be able to push our changes up to a production. Our tests will run. If our tests pass, we'll be able to manually trigger a production, a deployment to production. And so we'll have a pipeline from developing locally and being pretty much hands-off and pushing safe changes to a production environment. And I think at that point in this project, we'll have to ask, where do we want to go next? But that was really the original goal of the project, was to kind of build that entire pipeline out with a pretty simple app. So I will see you in the next video, and we'll see you next time.